wasn't perfect, yeah, I know that now. When it came crashing down, all I know is that I need you around. When it comes crashing down, all I need is not to feel so much alone. So step inside.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Depth of Field. I'm Eric, and joining me today is a bona fide star, a man who has fans all over the world, who has appeared shirtless barbecuing on TV. That's right, in Schitt's Creek. You may know him also from Wynonna Earp. This is Tim Rozon. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on your show, and thanks for talking about me shirtless within the first 30 seconds.
But that's why you get roles, right? I mean, it's not your rugged good looks and your talent.
I hope not.
It's the abs.
Yeah, great.
No, I mean, but the interesting thing is, so I know you not only from TV, but you also, you're a restaurateur. You've got some great restaurants here in Montreal. You are an oyster shucker, and you and my cousin Daniel Notkin, who is like one of the world famous oyster shuckers.
World renowned.
You guys have done a documentary called Shuckers. We'll get to that. And I think there's something announced in Deadline, was it today? Or in the last day or so, that you are one of the lead roles in a Vagrant Queen.
I'll say this, Eric, life is good.
Yeah, well that's what we were going to start the interview with that. Yeah. So Tim, life is good, eh?
Life is good. I'm definitely not going to complain.
All right, so what's the first thing, what are you most excited about right now?
Well, I mean, look, I'm about to go embark on this new project, so to say I wasn't excited about that, I'd be lying.
How did you find it?
It's going to film in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
I'll be there for the next 4 months. I literally just finished the whole comic book today. It's based on a book called Vagrant Queen by Magdalene Visaggio and Jason Smith. The book's incredible. The story already.
When you say book, is it a graphic novel?
Well, it was 6 single issues that they've now, you know what they do. They take 6 singles, put it in one graphic. So I read the graphic novel. And the story's just, look, man, I'm going to be running around pretend space, pretend shooting things, loving life. So I'm very excited. Yeah.
So I should also mention, if you guys have questions, comments, feedback, anything, make sure to precipitate in the chat. We already have a comment from TapPo, or XTapPoX. I would totally watch a documentary about oyster shuckers that requires skill. Yeah, exactly.
It takes, I would say it takes time.
Yeah.
Listen, it's unfortunate when you cut yourself with an oyster knife because you need stitches, but when you go to the hospital, you're the bottom of priorities of people who actually need help. And I know this from Oyster Fest 2014, where I cut myself right here and I needed 1 stitch.
Just 1 stitch?
I was there for 12 hours.
Oh, God.
Somebody came in with a migraine. I got pushed back to the bottom of the list. But it was deep enough that unfortunately I needed the stitch.
Yeah, you couldn't do the glue or the tape?
No, and I remember I was getting the stitch and there was like a doctor doing their training with another doctor like looking over them as they're doing it. She did the stitch, they did 2. So they ended up doing 2 stitches instead of 1, and then the doctor leans over to the training doctor and says, okay, now tell me what you did wrong. And I'm like, what? And like, first of all, I didn't exist. Nobody cared about me. They were just having this conversation between them. And they're like, well, you didn't freeze him.
Oh, God. Really?
So then she refreezes after I've already had the whole 2 stitches done without being freezed anyway.
This sounds like a debacle.
It was a debacle.
It was a debacle.
It was a debacle. But these are the, you know, the perils of oyster shucking.
So Doc Holliday says Tim is so hardcore. You're so hardcore that you're getting stitched up twice for just one shucking injury.
Exactly.
So Doc Holliday.
Yes,
I'm wondering if that's some kind of reference to a character that you might play.
I'm imagining that it has to do with Doc Holliday on Wynonna Earp, but I would be it'd be tough for me to say anything other than Doc is pretty famous herself.
Oh, yeah?
If you're on the old Twitter, you should check out the old Doc account. It's dedicated to a certain person's mustache. And it might be one of the best Twitter accounts ever. I mean, I'm biased, but I'm just saying that. It's not Val Kilmer's mustache.
Well, you know whose mustache had its own animated series?
No.
John Oates. Hall & Oates. At one point, this might have even been maybe not pre-Twitter, but Twitter wasn't what it was when John Oates' mustache, it was a crime-fighting mustache. And you know, Daryl Hall got all the glory, and you know, poor John Oates, but his mustache went on to have a great career.
By the way.
One of my favorites.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The Emerald 97 says, "What's the worst oyster shucker injury you received?"
Guys, I just discussed the two-stitch fiasco of 2014. Nothing was as scary as that moment.
Well, how did you get into oyster shucking?
Oddly enough, it's because of your cousin. It was because of Daniel Knockin. Listen, I've been working in kitchens since I'm 14 years old. So later on, when the opportunity came up to getting into my own restaurant with a couple of partners, I jumped at the idea and the opportunity, and I just took a leap of faith, and we did this thing. And your cousin at the time had been around the old port of Montreal a lot, and I kept hearing about this oyster guy.
He's the oyster king of Montreal.
Like, Daniel Knockin, the screenwriter? Because when I knew him, he was writing screenplays.
Right,
Yes, Danny was doing his scripts. And so Daniel and I always liked each other. Then I saw him literally in a parking lot. And I said, hey, what's the scoop? I heard you're like the oyster guy. And he pulls out an oyster out of his back pocket. Thinking back now, I shouldn't have eaten it because now I know everything about oysters. But back then I didn't. The guy, and he had his knife hooked on his belt. He had an oyster knife hooked to his belt and an oyster in his back pocket. He pulled it out, shucked it in the parking lot, and gave it to me.
Was that his shtick?
Oh, I was just in love right there. I said, this is the coolest guy in the world, man. He's got oysters in his back pocket. He's shucking with one hand, and I ate it. Thinking now it should have been on ice. Don't eat oysters out of people's back pockets, people. Please, in parking lots especially. If I could give that out to anybody, that's my, put a disclosure at
Don't eat oysters out of
people's back pockets in parking lots. But it was great oyster. And from that spawned, literally, I said, tell me about this oyster thing. I'm really, so he said, listen, there's this competition in Prince Edward Island, this weekend. I go, what do you mean competition? Competition for what? He goes, for opening oysters. I go, what are you talking about? I knew nothing, guys.
Right.
Like, really, I knew nothing.
And probably some of our viewers do know
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, well,
Most
now people think it's cooler, but even back then, people didn't talk. So I said, a competition is speed for opening oysters. I said, dude, I'm coming.
And you just met him
Which
there.
is great because he needed a ride.
Okay.
So I'm not even kidding. So we ended up driving together, and then the whole time he's like, we should film it. So I had a little camera, and that's how it literally started. He said, I filmed the first time, So I'm filming Danny at this thing, and I remember it was the coolest thing ever because I used to love the WWF, WWE, whatever, but it was WWF when I loved it, okay?
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that. I also love the World Wildlife Foundation. Animals are great. Oh, is what I'm saying.
But WWF is Hulk Hogan and
exactly.
Randy Orton.
So,
George the Animal Steel.
And then when that went away, like when I stopped loving that again, I found that love at an oyster shucking competition because they came in announced like that. It was insane, man.
Come on,
They
really?
And now here comes Patrick McMurray. The guy had like a shark skin suit glove that he had cut the knuckles for. He was wearing this jean jacket that was cut that said, I shuck. And like I was like, who are these guys? And he came into music, and then they get up there and they're shucking. Metallica's playing, shells are flying. I was like, yeah. Danny's up there. I've got the camera. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. So then we went on an oyster shucking adventure.
Well, so having seen the trailer, the one scene that sticks with me, and hold on, we should say, so Tash Lover says, I've seen Shuckers, it was Stash Them, and also
Hi,
it says,
Stash Lover. Also amazing on Twitter. These are great. These are great people on Twitter. Let me tell you.
Awesome. About back pocket oysters, Real Brick Wall says that's a piece of advice I will have no trouble following. Yeah, there you go. So the depth of
saving
field,
lives, guys.
Yeah, we are saving lives.
We're saving lives. There's people back there. That's why I'm like doing this.
So I recall the one scene in the trailer of that movie or that documentary, Shuckers, that really sticks on my mind is, and this is probably you filming, it's Daniel in the back seat, he's listening to music, and he doesn't even have anything in his hands, but he's just doing the muscle memory.
Yeah, so I'm so happy you said that, because that was like one of the first days. And I'm driving down and I'm looking at him like, oh my, this guy's nuts. But I loved it too. And I'm watching him do this like fake,
it's like a
Zen
Jedi
master. And he's getting ready for his competition, man, so he's getting in the zone. So then that same guy, this Patrick McMurray, I was,
Is that his nemesis?
No, it's his buddy.
Okay.
But he had the jean jacket. He was the cool guy, man. For back then, he was the first shucker that I was like, this guy's a rock star. There was him and like Eamon Clark, and they were like the super cool. You could just see they were super cool dudes that I was like, these guys are awesome. And there was John Bill. There was just these legends. These guys were so cool. But Patrick McMurray was oddly enough, so I was trying to film, but it was my first time filming, so I was scared. So I was zooming a lot. I was hiding and using zoom. And man, did I not catch Patrick McMurray in the corner before he went up. just quietly pretending to do the exact same thing
So this is
that
the thing.
Danny was doing. Just this Jedi oyster shucking preparation, whatever it is, thing.
It's like air drumming or air guitaring, but
These
it's
guys
air
shucking, man.
You know what that makes me think of? And I think we should watch that trailer, but before we do, you bring up, talking about the characters in this movie, especially Patrick McMurray, reminds me of, have you ever seen the movie A Fistful of Dollars?
Yeah.
So what's Billy Mitchell? Yeah. Like he, if none of you or any of you, if anybody has seen this, this is a movie. It's called The King of Kong, and it's a documentary about these champion Donkey Kong players. And the bad guy, the villain, is this Billy Mitchell guy who's just like,
Which is up for debate the whole movie. Is he bad? Is he not
exactly? And he might actually be the good guy after all. But there's a second movie that they're making about him.
Oh,
by
they
the way,
are?
yeah, and he's a hot sauce king as well. But
Yes, I saw that on the old YouTube.
something about how you described these characters reminds me. You guys should see it if you haven't seen it. It's the greatest movie about gaming of all time. All right, enough about that. Let's look at Shuckers. Should we do it picture in picture? No picture in picture. We're just going to play 2 minutes of the trailer and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Shuckers.
Oysters is strange, to say the least. I own a seafood restaurant that serves oysters. So I figured I'll start shucking oysters. How hard could it be?
But it turned out there was a lot more to these weird little creatures than I thought.
I started figuring out there's like this whole subculture, almost like this romantic underlying relationship people have with oysters. So then I started getting curious about it. My interest in oysters didn't peak until there was this guy named Daniel Notkin. And all I heard about was Daniel Notkin, oysters, Daniel, and oysters.
My name is Daniel Notkin. I open oysters, and I guess I try to make the world a better place.
And it wasn't until I went on the road with Daniel that I realized how deep the rabbit hole went into the world of oysters.
I want to figure out what makes the oyster guys tick. I want to get into the minds of you crazy men who stick knives into shellfish and find beauty in the weirdest little suckers in the world.
So we started attending oyster shucking competitions, and that's when I started meeting them all.
There's some guys that shuck oysters that are just absolute freaks.
Trying to train my mind to take that first oyster, place it at the top, second, third, fourth.
Folks, we've got the best oyster shuckers performing for you right here. Ladies and gentlemen from Montreal, Daniel Notkin.
If you pick up a stopwatch, oh man, my heart starts going.
I've had people, even to this day, they go, hey, have you heard of these oysters? You hear there's oyster shucking contests. You're not bad. I go, yeah, I've heard of them. Guinness Book of World Records with 38 oysters in a minute.
3, 2, 1, shuck!
To be a good oyster shucker, you have to know the anatomy of the oyster, you have to know how you're getting in and around, and you have to have the desire to make that oyster perfect. It's a challenge, each and every one.
How are you feeling going up against such a reputed professional?
They're black and white food. You're eating those? Oh, God.
The only thing you eat alive and raw besides each other.
You take pride in doing a good oyster. I'm not going to use oysters. If I don't like them, I'm not doing the party.
It seems like the whole world's gone oyster crazy, and I'm going to find out why.
Christ, we're not going to the churches and the temples anymore. We might as well go to the oyster houses. It's our salvation.
Amazing. So
I haven't seen that in a while.
And this is available, like if people out there want to see it, how can they find it?
That'd be a good thing for me to know. But,
Take an Air Canada plane, because it plays...
Yes, I know it's on Air Canada.
Yeah.
And I think somehow you get on like Google Play. Is that a thing?
It was.
It was.
Oh no, I
That's
think it
good
still
to
is. I
know.
think it still
It
is. Yeah,
was.
I know it was on iTunes. If you just look
I'm pretty
up,
sure iTunes, yeah.
Yeah, Google Shuckers, because iTunes I think is dead now. But Google Shuckers and you'll find it. We have a message, but someone's got to scroll down or up. There we go. Real Brickwall says, I find raw oysters so unpalpable. Watching people slurping them down that rapidly is making me a little ill. Cook those mucusy things. Where do you stand on raw versus cooked oysters?
I think, listen, there is a fear that comes from people, but it's one of those things where with cold water oysters from the East Coast, you have no problems. It's just not going to happen. In some of the warmer water, like if you go to Gulf of Mexico or something, there's something called a Vibrio that can happen, but the odds of it happening, it happens more when the water's warm. You already have to be the person who's got like an immune deficiency and find that one oyster of the certain amount and be the one person with an immune deficiency that eats that one oyster with they're fine. You're great.
Right.
Raw oysters are very good for you. Very high in protein, iron, and zinc. 3 grams of protein per oyster, guys.
So what's your shucking record?
Listen, the thing is, I got really quick. I got really fast. I actually had to dumb it down for the movie a lot because we shot it over 4 years. After 4 years of shucking, man, I got pretty good. But I played the guy who was learning. I was learning, so I had to kind of dumb down how good I had gotten. But the thing that I learned is I didn't care about the competition.
No,
when I met the farmers,
fun, right?
No, it was when I met the farmers, man. And I met these farmers that they lost everything when there was the giant oil spill that happened down in the Gulf and stuff, and they tried to clean that water out of there by pumping fresh water in there. And when you meet farmers that lose everything, and then you meet the people that are really. Like the farmers are the kings. That's the movie goes to that. But for me, they were the real heroes of the movie. The guys who shuck the oysters, you're awesome and stuff. It's cool. But these farmers who dedicated these lives so we have oysters because we need them. Farmed oysters is a very good thing. We need farmed oysters. It's not like farmed salmon or you need farmed oysters because we depleted the natural resources of them, and the water needs them. They're the water.
Right, they clean the water, right?
Yeah, they're like the Brita. Like that's what they do. And we took them all out of there.
Yeah.
The ocean needs them. So at least you have farmers, they're putting them back in. So if you keep eating them, well, the farmer's going to keep replenishing his stock. So by eating oysters, you're saving the world.
See, like I said, depth of field, saving the world, saving lives.
But it's a fact because you need them. So for me, it's like once I met the farmers and stuff, I was kind of like, I don't really care. That's why I threw that plate. You see me now thinking about I shouldn't have wasted those oysters. But I did it because I actually had the fastest time. But I didn't want my time. I disqualified myself on purpose to say, like, I don't care about the competition part. Save farmers.
What we really should have done is had some oysters for this show.
You should have told me. I would have brought some.
About your speed, Duck Stash Holiday says, prove it, Tim. Shuck for us right now. Bring in the oysters.
Unfortunately, I don't have one in my back pocket.
And someone called Daniel Notkin. Get Daniel on the phone and bring him over here. So I would be remiss to be interviewing you about, on a show about movies and TV and be talking about shucking the whole time.
Yeah.
I would love to. In fact, okay, before we even get anywhere, so best oysters in the world, where?
It's hard to beat East Coast Canada, in my opinion. Prince Edward Island's pretty good.
And you still shuck at the restaurant?
100%.
And the restaurants, we should mention, these are pretty famous restaurants, Garde Manger and
Bremner and the Vieux-Port de Montréal.
Yeah, fantastic restaurants.
Yeah, we just celebrated 13 years at Garde Manger.
Really? Well, we were just saying beforehand that I used to come in there back in the early days when you guys would shut down the lights.
It's a little crazier.
Yeah, that's right. But from restauranting to acting. So let's go to right now and then work backwards, because right now you were talking about Vagrant Queen.
That is correct.
And you described it to me before as kind of a Guardians of the Galaxy type.
I mean, it's space stuff, super fun. I mean, the lead character, you learn pretty quickly that she's not a vagrant. She's actually a queen from another galaxy. And
hence
when
the name,
Vagrant Queen. And when everything kind of comes together, it's just a shit show of awesomeness. And I'm so stoked and I'm so excited to start. I can't wait.
And your character is, describe your character.
I can't give too much away. I do play Isaac Sterling. Look, it's based on a comic book. So if you read the comic book, it's going to stay pretty close to the story there. But, TV always differs from... He gets himself in a lot of trouble. He might be the one in the gang that kind of gets everybody into trouble, and then they got to get their way out of it.
So, but if I were to go with the Guardians of the Galaxy comparison, is he anywhere near a Star-Lord type character, or am I just extrapolating...
I am Groot.
Oh, you're Groot. Okay. Gotcha.
I am Groot.
Okay. Elizabeth Neal says Firefly-esque, maybe?
I would say so.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, we can hope.
Right, exactly. But that...
I don't want to put the pedestal that high, guys.
And how did you become... I mean, are you a sci-fi guy?
Super.
Yeah, okay,
Super.
always have been?
Always have been. I've been living the dream now for, I mean, listen, for me, Wynonna Earp, just getting that part of Wynonna Earp.
That was a big one for you.
Nothing competes. Nothing can ever compare with that feeling. I mean, it was Doc Holliday in a sci-fi show based on a comic book. These are my favorite things in life. This was everything for me.
You're a Western guy too?
Oh, I love Westerns. I knew exactly who Doc Holliday was. I couldn't wait to start that part. I couldn't wait to do that part. So, oddly enough, the script that I've liked the most since that part is Vagrant Queen.
That's amazing.
And again, oddly enough, it just happens to be based on a comic book. It's a super fun character. Again, that I don't know, I just felt that character right away. It clicked really well, and I remember saying, man, I gotta get this one. I hope I get this one.
Wait a minute. So are you at the point now where you decide which scripts you want to do? I mean, it sounds like it. You're like, well, you know, the script I liked the most was the one.
No, I get all kinds. I've gone out for some stuff that I never should have put myself on tape for. Listen, man, I'm an actor. I do my job. You tell me, the agent calls me, and I've never once said, I'm not going, I don't think I should go in for that, or I'm not going. You tell me to go, I go.
You don't worry about...
I try and get jobs. That's my job. I try and do the best that I can do in those rooms. I hope that I do the best job that I can, and I hope to get the jobs. And it's just been working out for me really, really good that I'm actually getting the ones that I really, really want.
Right.
Like that's the part where I'm like, I'm just so lucky, because it's like, not only am I getting the jobs, because let's be honest, as an actor, that's all you're trying to do. It's tough. People don't understand. Like, we say feast or famine in this business. It's like when you're feasting, you have all these opportunities and everything kind of clicks at once, and then the rest of the time you have nothing and you just want a job more than anything.
But have you lived through a lot of famines?
Oh my God, I've had so many famines. It's crazy. So I've been doing this a long time.
Well, we have a couple of comments. So Tap, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. X-Tap Paux says hashtag fight for Wynonna. Lots of love. Doc Stash Holiday says he is only allowed to accept roles with facial hair. Right. So it all comes back. I mean, your career has been defined by
facial hair. It actually was all famine until I started growing facial hair, and now I've been feasting, and that's a fact.
Because you can always pull some out.
I just don't understand what happened. It's literally everything for the past 5 years has been about facial hair. For other parts, and I mean, I can't imagine how many production meetings have been honestly about my facial hair. Because I was supposed to be on other shows that are like, yes, but can he shave? And they said, no. What do you mean he can't shave? And I'm like, I'm not shaving. I have to grow this mustache. So like, it's literally about facial hair.
Well, I do these kind of corporate things from time to time where I'm hosting them, and I've been. The first time I did it for this one client, you know, I had this going on, and they were like, well, can you, we want you to be a bit more clean cut, and I managed to get them to pay me extra. So every time I shoot one of these things for them, there's an extra, and I don't even go full, like I leave some stubble.
Yeah.
So I hear you, man. The facial hair is you got to hold on to that stuff.
It's literally been it's gotten to the point though now when I shave, I have co-stars that just won't even talk to me because they've met me only as like some of them only know me as the mustache guy. Other people only know me as the beardo. It's like, you know, I'm a person when I got no facial hair too. But yeah.
Well, let's talk about Doc Holliday. Not to be mixed up with Doc Hollywood, which was a great film in the 80s.
Of course.
But so Doc...
That was Michael J. Fox?
That was Michael J. Fox,
great movie.
And when I was doing some research...
He goes to a small town, he's a big city doctor.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
The funny thing is, though, when I was doing the research for this, and I mistakenly wrote Doc Holliday, Doc Hollywood, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't think he was in that movie.
No, but that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good movie.
So this is a character, this is a real life person who was an outlaw, a dentist.
Gambler.
A gambler.
Yeah. Which was a noble profession back in those days.
That's right, yeah. And he has been portrayed by many great actors. I'd like to read you a list of all the people who've played this fabulous Doc, and you could tell me, and some of them I think are big ones for you.
Yeah.
So let's start back in 1937, Harvey Clark, Cesar Romero, that's kind of a big name, 39, Kent Taylor, Walter Houston. As soon as I say someone that, you know, that rings a bell.
Yeah, I might come back to one.
Okay, Victor Mature, Harry Bartell, In the 13th episode of the CBS radio program Gunsmoke in 1952, there was Kim Spalding, James Griffith, Barry Atwater, Kirk Douglas in Gunfight at the OK Corral with Burt Lancaster as Wyatt Earp.
Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off, but I know Doc Stash is watching, and when she finds out one of the people you tell me that she didn't know played Doc Holliday, her mind's going to explode, so go ahead.
I'm very excited about this. So you do know Doc Stash?
Oh, yes,
very well.
We like this.
Intimately well?
Hey, listen.
Okay. So Douglas Foley, Myron Healy, Adam West. Fucking Batman. Was
sick.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, you're obviously in good company here. Gerald Moore and Peter Breck, Christopher Dark, that was in Bonanza. Martin Landau in Tales of Wells Fargo. Anthony Jacobs in the Doctor Who episode The Gunfighters. Warren Stevens, Jason Robards. That's a pretty big one. And James Garner played Wyatt Earp. Jack Kelly, Sam Gilman, Stacy Keach. What was his name? That was Stacy Keach. What did he play? He was the film noir. Anyways, Bill Fletcher, John McLeod, Jeffrey Demon. Here's my favorite. 1986 in the movie Stagecoach.
Willie Nelson played Doc Holliday.
Yes.
Yes.
And clearly I've learned now that he's one of your heroes.
Yeah, one of my favorites of all time. And the fact that Doc Stash hasn't put those two together blows my mind.
Crazy. But it's not just that. Also Val Kilmer in Tombstone.
Heard of him.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, heard of him.
Randy Quaid.
Oh, interesting.
So Dennis played in Wyatt Earp and Randy in Purgatory. Let's see. Ryan Kennedy, William McNamara. Tim Rozon, there you go. Edgar Fox in The American West, Eric Schumacher in Tombstone Rashomon, and Jeremy Renner of Avengers fame is going to be in the untitled Doc Holliday biopic based on the Mary Doria Russell books.
I might watch it.
So that's pretty cool. I mean,
pretty
you're in
awesome.
great company.
So oddly enough, Victor Mature. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
right?
well, it's spelled...
When I first got the part, because I'm pretty actually kind of new to Twitter and Instagram, I didn't have either one before the doc happened. So it's only like 3 years, I think, that I've had the stuff. So one of the first DMs, sliding into my DMs, was Victor Mature's granddaughter.
No way.
Yes, and she started sending me all these pictures saying my grandfather was Doc Holliday, but I was new to the whole thing. I'm like, what is this? Who's this person? Who's this? But then I found out later, and I didn't write back. I wish I had, because later I found out this was an actual real person, and I should have known exactly who that was. And then I went down the YouTube rabbit hole and watched some Victor Mature stuff. And I feel bad that I never reached back out back then. But it was one of the first people ever who reached out to me, just saying, "Oh, my grandfather was Doc." I
want to make this happen. We should reach out to her now.
We should write. Yeah.
You know what? We can. You could pull out your phone and
I did that was 3 years ago, so it might be tough to find that person now. But
so Doc Stash Holliday does say, "Holy, oh my God!"
Yeah. See,
I have to log off and
look
go
at
watch
this.
it
I told you she would blow her mind. I told you it would blow her mind. Yeah. Look, I knew. To say I hadn't seen Tombstone, I'd be a liar.
Right.
Or Wyatt Earp but Tombstone was the one. I mean, it was for most people. Val Kilmer was just legend. I'm your Huckleberry. I say that. You say that line now, everybody knows, who said it, why they said it, when they said it. He spins that little cup instead of the gun. I mean, it was just incredible. The performance was incredible. I couldn't wait. I made sure not to watch Tombstone. Mm-hmm. I made sure that my Doc Holliday was nothing. Why even go near that?
Right.
And I also love the Dennis Quaid one. And oddly enough, when they flew me to LA for the screen test, for people who don't know screen tests, they're horrible. It's like the last round of auditions where we got to go to the studio, and it's like a big deal, and you got to read, and it's like you're so close to the job. That's why it's horrible, just because you're so close and you really want to get the job, and it could be very nerve-wracking. It actually wasn't for Doc. It was a great experience. I couldn't wait to get in the room, to be honest. But Dennis Quaid was on my plane.
Oh fuck! So you knew. You were like, okay, this is a sign.
He was on my plane, man, and I saw him, and I'm like, this is it, man. I'm getting this part. I just knew it, and I don't know if that was enough to put me over to give me that confidence, but I was like, I'm getting this part, man. Dennis, that's Doc Holliday right there. And I paid for the upgrade to get to like row 13, whatever it is, the window seat thing, and he was up in first class. but they hadn't closed that window yet.
Did you go say anything?
Of course I didn't say anything to him, but he was right there, and that was enough for me. I saw him sitting there, and I said, this is going to happen, man. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And then Val Kilmer was at Comic-Con Montreal last year. And my father called me and he goes, son, Doc Holliday's here. You gotta go get a photo with the Doc Holliday son. That's exactly how my father speaks. You gotta go get the photo. He's here next Sunday, next Sunday. This was on Saturday. He calls me, next Sunday, Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer. I book it that day. Friday, Saturday's already sold out. I'm like, Friday, Saturday, already sold out. That's weird. Okay, Sunday's open. Okay, I buy it, boom. I had a softball game at 11 o'clock. This is 10 in the morning. Buy my ticket, $165 premium ticket straight with Val Kilmer photo picture, right? I got to get the double Doc photo. I have to have it. Boom, I go play baseball. I come back. I'm working at the Gare Manger that night. I'm working in the restaurant. I start seeing actors that I know. You know, a guy from Arrow. I see another friend of mine. I said, what are you guys doing in town, man? Like I see a lot of people that I know, you know? All of a sudden, and they're like, oh, Comic-Con. It's the last day today. Like, what do you mean, the last day today? Like, yeah, Comic-Con, the last day is today. My father saw the sign for next Sunday, but it was that day, it was the Sunday, that morning, that day. I booked the tickets. My picture with Val Kilmer was from 1 hour from when I booked it, but I thought it was for a week later, Sunday. So whenever I saw everybody, of course Friday and Saturday were sold out. They already passed. They didn't exist. So I'm like, I missed my photo with Val Kilmer. I was heartbroken. I said, but I feel like the universe is so awesome that I know I'm going to get my Val moment and another way, another day. Well, it's going to come, and it'll be worth it.
But I get that feeling from you. I mean, just you know, your Randy Quaid story, or just life is good. You're like. You know,
Dennis Quaid, Randy Quaid.
Sorry,
I think he's. I don't want to associate myself with Randy Quaid.
No,
days.
exactly.
I'm not sure.
Sorry, Dennis Quaid. Very different.
Seems to be going through something.
I think a little bit
Randy
tough.
Quaid, yeah.
But you don't seem to be going through something tough. You seem to be going through something great. And I wish for you your Val moment. I'm actually very excited because speaking of Comic-Con, what was it, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, so, July 7th.
So we're doing a Beanduck event at Comic-Con, but more than that, as excited as I am about that, I believe I will be introing Mr. Lou Ferrigno, the fucking Hulk.
Yes.
So,
awesome.
So I mean, that was when I was growing up. The Hulk was was the ultimate.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
I liked him in Pumping Iron.
Yeah, of course. And I want to ask him about that, but I'm not sure if he's sensitive about it or.
Why? He dedicated half to his life to that. I feel like he.
I guess so, but you know. And then there was also I Love You Man. I love his. That's a great movie. I'm a big Rush fan, you know, fucking Lou Ferrigno. I'm very excited. But
cool.
Okay, Val Kilmer. Let me ask you this. So they're doing another Top Gun.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise has signed on. I don't know. Is Val Kilmer involved? Does anybody know?
I think he's going through some stuff too, but so I'm not sure exactly. Hopefully.
Would you want to see him in?
Of course.
How do you feel about Top Gun 2?
I loved it so much that why not? I mean, I feel like we got to pass the baton in some way. Listen, as long as it's not like Indiana Jones. Because for me, my biggest problem with the Indiana Jones, the newer one, the Crystal Skull one, was that we just kept making fun of him for being old.
Right.
And that really bugged me for some reason.
Like in the movie, that was
how many old man jokes are you gonna make about the poor guy? I just didn't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind you want to pass it on to somebody else, but why you gotta knock the guy off? It just seemed like they made that joke one too many. It was like 20 times he called him the old man, the old man.
That's right. And then the passing the baton, was that the one with
Shia LaBeouf?
That's right. Whatever happened, he also had some
He's got some stuff.
Some
stuff happening, I think.
Do you know, is it easy to come by having stuff when you're living that life? Like, you know,
I shuck oysters 5 days a week, so my life is way different than everybody else's life like that. I'll tell you that. I'm pretty grounded.
Do you? How much of your time do you spend in LA?
None. Listen, I spent lots of time in LA. I can't tell you, more than a dozen pilot seasons I've done. I've lived there, I've done it, but I'm just not an LA guy. I'll never leave home.
And Montreal keeps you grounded?
I can't. I haven't. There's too much going on here.
So Bendo Nintendo says, well,
wow,
funny
what a
you should
great
mention
name.
It, Tim. Val, come on out of the back room. Oh, yeah, here he is. No, he's, I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. Something about him fitting through the door. That wouldn't have been very nice. No, I thought he was amazing in The Doors too.
Of course.
What was it? Salt and Sea? That was
Salt
a pretty
and
cool
Sea, great movie. Yeah. Heat.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, Heat. Have you guys ever Googled or YouTubed Val Kilmer's elbow in Heat?
No.
You're welcome. You should do that right now.
Can we do that?
Guys, Google Val Kilmer's elbow in Heat.
No, okay, we're not going to do that. But does
It's
it
a thing. I don't know what it is, but it's a thing.
Okay. It also makes me think of, and I don't know if this is, I don't know, because have you ever seen Joaquin Phoenix's forehead, eyebrows in Her?
No.
It is its own. Google that.
Okay.
There. So
Joaquin
two things
Phoenix.
for you guys to Google.
Very excited about the Joker, by the way.
Yes.
Cannot wait.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
You think he's gonna?
Of course.
Yeah. But I mean, those are also big shoes to fill.
Can't wait. It's gonna be amazing. It looks totally. It just looks so different. It looks different. Listen, it's so tough. I know everybody's giving Robert Pattinson they're roasting him already before you've seen. Everybody said the same thing about Heath Ledger.
Yeah, but
they forgot he was in like 10 Things I Hate About You or whatever, and he killed it. Just let the guy do the thing and see what happens after. He might be great.
But how did you feel about Batfleck?
I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did.
Okay. I actually went on record last week as saying I didn't hate Jared Leto's Joker as much as everybody else did too.
I had more difficulties. It was just, he's very cocky. I never found the Joker to be that cocky, to be honest.
Okay.
I found the thing that I like about Heath that I think Joaquin's going to bring is the vulnerability to Joker.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sadness to his Joker. That's why I always think he looks for humor, because he wants to hide his pain so much. There was no pain hiding, I found, with Jared's Joker.
No, it was
more of
just
like
glossy.
the bravado of,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's what, there was no vulnerability to Joker, and I need a little bit of vulnerability in my Joker.
I think if anyone can do that, Joaquin is going to be
100%.
Yeah.
His brother was probably the reason I got into acting.
Oh yeah.
I used to walk around with River Phoenix autobiography in my back pocket. That was the book that I never went anywhere without it. I've seen every single River Phoenix movie just a mazillion times. I had a poster on my wall of My Own Private Idaho.
What a movie.
It was Keanu and him on the motorbike.
I forgot the Keanu was in that.
Oh yeah! Oh man, My Own Private Idaho. Gus Van Sant is the movie. That's man. I watched that movie. Yeah. That's the reason I got into acting. Was River Phoenix, and for me, that's what it was. It was a vulnerability. You just watched that man on screen as a kid or when he got older, and there was such a sadness about him. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to hug him. Even when he was playing a character with confidence, you could just see that wounded vulnerability that he had at all times, and I was in awe and thankful that he gave that, like he showed that part of himself. Especially back then, especially people and males in particular didn't show any vulnerability at all. You had to. This is Stallone
Early
movies
90s,
and
yeah.
Commando with the tree on your arm, and then you had River being like, I was like, no, I'm more that kid than Commando.
So I'm going to take a guess that What's Eating Gilbert Grape was probably a big one for you too,
loved
eh?
it.
Yeah, because that was that vulnerability
Loved
and that
movie.
understated.
I mean, that it just made complete sense to me. The Johnny Depp character in that movie was
exactly.
Juliet. That I love that movie.
And Leo, that was my favorite Leo role ever.
Yeah, he's incredible. I would say his Rimbaud one was pretty good too.
Which one?
I can't remember the name of it, but he actually played Arturo Rimbaud. It was right after. It was in between that and Basketball Diaries.
Really?
Oh, what was the name of that movie, man? Somebody will figure it out, but it was Leonardo DiCaprio played Rimbaud.
Let us know in the comments. Speaking of comments, Mongani, one of my favorites, hi Mongani, says, Tim with the realist reaction, and Earpnado says...
Earpnado.
Earpnado.
Come on, these are famous people. I know all these people. How are you, Earpnado?
Tim's wearing a Willie Nice hat. That's awesome.
Yeah. Willie Nice. I like it. She's funny.
So actually, where does the Willie Nelson love come from? I mean...
so I play guitar.
Yeah.
I love guitar. I like all music. Everybody knows that about me. I love music. The thing is, I love guitar players. People don't know, Willie Nelson is one of the sickest guitar players of all time. He's like a super Django fan. I don't know if you know who Django is.
Django Reinhardt.
Well, Django used to play with 2 fingers, which makes no sense because the guy had all his fingers.
Right.
But he was so insanely awesome that he's like, I just will only use 2. And he did like this little, like Django to explain to people who didn't know who he is. He's like Total Eclipse. Thank you.
Oh,
Leo
right.
played Rimbaud in Total Eclipse. Great movie.
Yeah.
It was with that other actor was great who did the movie with Brad Pitt where they walked through the mountains for 7 years.
7 years in Tibet?
Yeah, the other actor in that played Leo's lover, older lover in Rimbaud.
Oh shit! Now you're getting
no, it doesn't matter.
way down the rabbit
Django's
hole.
got 2 fingers and he just rips. He does like this classical like, and Willie Nelson, you can hear the Django. You can just hear the influence, and he plays on a guitar called Trigger. It's an old Martin with classical guitar strings, and you can hear it and you know it's Willie, no matter what you're listening to. But it's just. His guitar playing is so incredible, and it's got like this little Spanish Django to it just love. So at first I fell in love with just his guitar playing, and then from there it was just like, it's simple country music. I love it. I can listen to Ride the Lightning, or I can listen to Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, or I can listen to 36 Chambers. I just like good music. If it's good and it sings to me, then I'm down with it.
You ever see the movie about the second greatest guitarist of all time? So it was a Woody Allen movie about, it wasn't Django, it was about...
Sean Penn in it?
Yes, and I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Yeah.
It was such a great movie, too.
Yeah, I remember.
If someone...
My first scene was with, my first acting scene ever, sorry to cut you off, it was with Mira Sorvino after she won an Oscar for Mighty Aphrodite.
Oh, wow, really?
And then I was in this movie. It was The Great Gatsby.
That's right, the
Great
TV,
Gatsby.
the
A&E TV Great Gatsby. And I felt horrible because it was my first time ever. I was 18 years old. And they told me, come down the stairs, hit your mark, and you say the line was, can you help out the boys, ma'am? Can you help out our boys, ma'am? And then I take off my cufflink and I give it to Mira. And I felt horrible because she just won an Oscar and then she had to work with me. And I didn't know what a mark was. And I kept walking past it. And everybody's like, cut. And then I'd go back up again, but I was too shy to say, what's a mark? I didn't know what a mark was. So they put this giant bean bag down to stop me from walking over. And I stood on top of the bean bag.
Did she?
I stood on top of the bean bag, and then Mira started talking to the director, and the director's like, look, I'll handle my actors. And then I was like, what did I do? And I was just remember it was Mira, and I just watched Mighty Aphrodite too, and I'm like, what am I? It was horrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So,
my first time was just, it was really scary.
did it get better?
100% it got better. The good thing is I set the bar so low that I could only get better, guys.
So dream roles. It sounds like you already have your dream roles, right?
Dream roles done. I'm good. I can't. There's literally nothing I can ask the universe for more. I won't and can't. I can't. I'm not lying. Well, Doc Holliday was the one. Just to get that part, I remember I wanted it so bad, and I kind of knew that I could get it.
What would have happened if you didn't? Like, have you had to live that a lot?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I screen tested for, I won't say, what projects. Look, one of them was Smallville. It was a big part on Smallville, man. I wanted it so bad, and they flew me to Warner Brothers. It was my first time in Warner Brothers. I was petrified. You're on the set of Warner Brothers, you take a golf cart, you're sitting underneath the WB, they hand you a giant contract before you go in the room, there's 6 other actors, one of them's freaking Chad Michael Murray. I'm like, what am I doing here? I can't be this is crazy. They gave us a break for lunch. I went downstairs to the store and I bought a t-shirt that said Property of Smallville, because I thought I was going to get the part. And I was all excited to come home and wear my t-shirt, Property of Smallville, and tell my friends I got the part. I did not get the part. And the only person I could blame is myself, because I was so nervous in that room. It was like, I had never been nervous up to that point for auditioning for it. But then that screen test, I remember I just went in and it was too much. It was this Warner Brothers in LA. I was just thinking about all the wrong things. And I bombed.
Do you know, like, right away when you're bombing?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I try not to too much.
Right. But I mean, I'm wondering if it's like music when you're on stage and you're playing and you know you're connecting.
Thank God I bombed.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful I bombed because I didn't bomb again. Or
really?
I actually did. I did, but I learned from each one of those, and those were also those moments so that, like, when that moment came up again, it's like the Eminem song, you only get one shot. Well, in acting, you don't. You're going to get another shot. If you stick with it, you'll get another shot. Just stick with it. And then don't blow that one. But, you learn that so much of it has nothing to do with you or what you can do. You can only, The other thing I will say is, like, you got to ask the universe.
Are you a spiritual guy in that sense?
Not? At this point, how could I not believe?
Yeah.
These are the things that I asked for. These are the things I wanted. I remember the words came out of my mouth, man. I really want a sci-fi show. My dream would be to get to Comic-Con. 2 years later, man, I was at San Diego Comic-Con and I was the happiest human being. Look, I'm telling you, like, we're all gonna turn to dirt one day. That's gonna happen. I'm good. Someone needs to go up there for when I'm there and just be like, play some Willie Nelson and be like, the kid was good. He had a great time. Peace out.
Well, you know, there's a question I want to get to over here from Doc Holliday, who says, would you ever want to play an epic musician in a biopic?
Oh, hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
And so talking about Dust and you know, that, and well, everything, I think that's a perfect question for what was, so who, I'm guessing Willie is the guy.
Nope.
No?
No, it's like, listen, it's like, anybody who knows me knows the Silver Surfer is my favorite of all time. He's my all-time favorite character. I love the Silver Surfer. I love everything Silver Surfer. So people are like, man, you probably would love to play the Silver Surfer in a movie. I'm like, hell no. I want to go watch the Silver Surfer. I can't wait to go watch it. I'll be the first one there. I want to see whoever. It's not me. I know that. I know that I'm not the Surfer. That actor, whoever it is, let them get it. Let me enjoy it. Same with Willie, man. I want to see somebody else be the amazing Willie. Whoever that Willie is, there's a Willie.
Who would be the best Willie? Anyone? I mean, you know, just first person to come to your mind.
It depends, because then you got to say, Willie at what age?
Yeah.
Hey, Willie's been doing this I went to his 85th birthday party concert. The guy's 85, he's still ripping it.
How many times have you seen him?
I've seen him twice, and I'm about to see him on Saturday.
Yes!
I'm seeing him again Saturday. I'm super excited.
Okay, so let me try and think. Who would I want to play Willie Nelson? That is a tough one.
It's tough because what age?
Yeah.
At what age do you want to see Willie? And you know, it's tough.
Well, you know, I've brought up one of my favorite actors in recent episodes. It seems like maybe a strange choice, but could what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Tom Hardy. Could Tom Hardy do a Willie Nelson?
Listen, Tom Hardy's pretty sick at everything he does.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's tough, maybe, because I want to say, I don't know if he'd have the physicality to do it, but he played Bane.
Exactly.
And then he played, you know, I don't know, maybe. I just watched Dark Phoenix, and Magneto stole the show again, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He really killed it. So
maybe Fassbender.
Yeah, maybe he came to mind. He's a bit of the ginge. You need a ginge.
Well, you know who also sprang to mind, and I forget his name, but he was in every big indie movie last year. And then, he was in that movie with Affleck, other Affleck, the one that won.
Casey.
He was also in Lady Bird. He's kind of like a tall, lanky, redheaded guy.
Yeah, redhead. Sign him up.
Yeah. Okay. So who would you play if you could? Ultimate musician.
I mean, look, I also loved 80s hair metal, so if I could, like, man, I don't know. I feel like you can get that same guy to play Axl. You know, because you need a ginger bit to play a young Axl too. It'd be pretty cool. Look, to be honest, I actually got my break playing musician, and that was in a show called Instant Star,
right?
On the N, and I loved that show. You know what? I was super lucky because Instant Star was like. It was one of those sets where we learned together. We were all new. We learned everything. We had an amazing time.
We all went on to do cool stuff.
Yeah, we were all super tight. You have Laura Vandervoort. You had Tatiana Maslany was on there. Alex Johnson was the star.
Oh, wow.
She was like, 18 years old, #1 on the show. Not only was she acting, but she was writing all the music and recording the albums.
Really?
And like her workload was insane. She crushed it like nobody's business. Christopher Turner, Maestro Fresh West.
He was on that show.
Yeah, man, Maestro. I'm very, very happy I met the Maestro Fresh West. He was the guy who taught me about humility right away. He was the most humblest guy. This is the Maestro. This is one of the biggest recording artists of all time. People don't know. They don't know. He was huge.
Yeah.
He was huge back then.
I was in high school when Let Your
He
Backbone
was
Slide
absolutely
came
huge.
out.
And he taught me about being humble and just being grateful. And I remember he would bless our lunch. Every day we had lunch together. He'd say a little prayer. And he's not wrong. I still think about it. Every time I have lunch, I'm like, this is the best. We get this super big spread. He's like, look at us. You can have whatever you want, man. You want some mashed potatoes? You can have some mashed potatoes. And he's not wrong, though. You know what I mean? He's like, look, everyone's taking care of you. He's like, it's all great, man. It's all gravy. And I'm like, you know what? It's gravy. And he's like, yeah, I'm thankful. And I'm like, I'm
Especially with
thankful
the mashed
too.
Potatoes.
And I was 22 years old, and I've just lived that motto ever since. Be thankful every second. And I was.
Well, big thanks to
the maestro, man, the man.
Doc Holliday says, I'm just obsessed with Tom Waits, so watching Tim play Tom would be epic.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool too. Yeah, that's a big. These are big shoes to fill, guys. Willie Nelson, Tom Waits,
and also Earp Nato.
Yeah.
Says Tim Rozon playing Tom Waits doing
a Slash cover.
So clearly, there's a Tom Waits. People are feeling you're doing Tom Waits.
Yeah,
I could see it.
I actually got my Gibson Sunburst Les Paul last year. I waited my entire life to be able to afford that guitar, and I bought it last year, and I would wake up in the middle of the night to go look at it. Oh my gosh, I never thought I'd have Slash's guitar. Man, when I finally bought that guitar, I still can't believe I have it.
Well, he's coming to Heavy Montreal.
He's going to be. I'll be in Africa.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So how long are you going to Africa for?
4 months.
4 months. And you got big stuff coming up, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough.
Nap Rubeck says
Spinal Tap 2 with Tim Rozon.
Possibly the greatest mockumentary of all time, and we were just talking about mockumentaries before. Yeah. So you were watching the
Dylan one.
Dylan, what was it? The Thunder.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember the title. I caught it last night on Netflix. I was watching it for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and
also love Dylan. I thought they did a great job with the one they filmed in Montreal. Actually, not.
I'm not here.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job with that.
I'm not there.
Here, I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not somewhere.
With Montrealer Mark Camacho playing Dylan's manager.
I actually thought they did a great job with that movie.
Yeah. No, well, I think it won awards.
Yeah. Oh, it did?
Yeah,
okay,
Todd
great.
Haynes directed that. Yeah. Actually, that's a good question. Directors. Who's a director you'd love to work with?
Who?
I
mean, look, I want to say Gus Van Sant. Cool. Just because, like I said, no movie affected me as much as My Own Private Idaho. Mm-hmm. That was the movie for me. That was like, oh man, I want to be an actor. I just want to do it. You know, I'm not sure I even understood that it was based on Shakespeare the first time that I saw it. I'm not even sure that I knew anything, to be honest, back then, other than he's just so cool. Mm-hmm. He's just so cool. He's like, this guy's so cool, man. I just want to be this guy. I was like 16 years old, and I'm like, I want to be as cool as this guy. How do I get my hair to stand up?
The Emerald 97 says, director Julian Stambuya. Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
So what do you think of, talking about My Own Private Idaho, and I'd forgotten that Keanu was in that. What do you make of the new renaissance? The Keanu is everyone's boyfriend. Everyone loves Keanu.
I've always loved Keanu, so this is nothing new to me. But have you guys seen Bill and Ted's? I mean,
Bill and Ted's 3 is coming out, eh?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Chain Reaction with Morgan Freeman was amazing. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't care what you say.
I heard these girls interviewed on CBC Radio last night talking about how he, in essence, is almost like an actor from the silent film era. That he is at his best when he's just expressing himself with his face, and that's why the casting for The Matrix was so brilliant, because take someone who just with a simple whoa can express so much, and you wouldn't have thought putting him in that role would have been, but it was the perfect role.
Perfect.
And now, I think what's coming out that everyone's so excited about, he takes people, if they get stuck on a bus.
He bought everybody on the bus.
Or now when, it's coming out that when he takes pictures with people, he does the hover. So instead of putting his arm, let's say, around a fan's shoulder, if it's a female fan, he'll just hover over it's a sign of respect to not be, in any way creepy or.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so he's just like, he's so exemplary that I'm super proud that, and Canadian.
Yeah, and Canadian. Yeah.
So.
I've always been Team Keanu.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, you sent me a list of some of your favorite movies. And I was very excited because we share a lot of favorites. My personal favorite, I have 3 favorites. Like if I really distill it down to 3 favorite movies of all time. One is Baraka. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Nope.
It's like, it's just images and music and 78 millimeter, like absolutely mind-bendingly good. Another one is Dazed and Confused, which, a day in the life of high school in Texas in the 70s, Richard Linklater. And the third one is, I brought it up last week, is, why am I blanking on it now? True Romance. Tony Scott. And it's not even, if you list the main actors, Alabama. What was that's
Patricia
Arquette and Christian Slater.
That's correct.
Not necessarily the greatest of all actors, but they're characters. And Tony Soprano.
Yes. Yes.
Gandolfini, that scene with,
Yes.
and then you have that scene between Christopher Walken and Easy Rider, and it's
Yes.
like, what a movie! And,
Yeah.
and Brad
Give
Pitt.
me one of those Chesterfields.
So
brutal.
Rumor has it
Yeah.
that basically the director said, that Tony Scott said, okay, you're two of the greatest actors of your generation. Here's a general idea of what I want you guys to do.
Wow.
Outdo each other. I want you to try and steal the scene from each other. And so that's how you got that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That cigarette he smokes, that Chesterfield, man.
It's
it's
just the
incredible. It's
sizzle of it.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both incredible.
What is it? So what I was saying last week is, it written by Tarantino, but not directed by. What is it that you love so much about that movie?
For me, I'm gonna say, especially at that time, True Romance is the greatest love story of all time.
Yes.
That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, of all the movies that are out there, there was like, romantic comedies. None of those fit with me or where I was at. And then just this guy who goes to this movie and like the guy sends this escort and then they fall in love with each other and then they're and the first 2 minutes, man, he's like, and he's like, but if I say fuck it and I say I'm gonna say I love you back and throw it to the wind, you know what I mean? And they just look at each other and they're like, fuck it, let's be in love. I was just like, yeah, that's what I want. Mm-hmm. That's what I just want to say. Fuck it, let's be in love. I'm trying to swear. And
you can if you want.
No, I don't want to. I'm trying not to.
Oh, try not to swear.
I feel like if I whisper it like the way I've been doing it.
No,
then it doesn't
I like
count.
to swear on this show.
Okay. Oh, you could swear. Yeah. But that's what it was. It was just like, fuck it, I want to be in love.
That was a real fuck it movie.
Yeah, man. And then they go on this crazy adventure and all kinds of crazy stuff happens. And I love that Brad Pitt played that role of Floyd.
And you remind me of Floyd.
Amazing,
and he was
a stoner with zero ambition and greasy hair.
No, but not just that, because we also talked about the other great Brad Pitt, or actually the other great David Duchovny movie.
Yeah, California.
Which Brad Pitt, to me, you embody the Brad Pitt of Floyd and California.
Oh, awesome, because
together.
those were very cool characters when I was a kid. I just love the fact that he took Floyd was so cool, because you're talking about probably one of the biggest movie stars in the world at that point.
The 2-minute rule.
In 2 minutes, he's the guy on the couch. You had to know it was him.
Yeah.
The same with frickin' let's not say it, Gary Oldman's Drexel.
Okay, so
Val Kilmer's Elvis.
Oh,
Val Kilmer was Elvis Presley, man.
Yeah. But you never saw him, right?
You did see him a couple of times.
Did you?
Yeah, come on, Clarence.
Oh, that's right.
Come on, Clarence.
But so Drexel, at that time, I had long dreadlocks. And people used to always, to the point people would stop me on the street and say, hey man, you ever see True Romance? And I'd be like, yeah, fucking Drexel. That was the greatest compliment one could ever pay me.
Oh, I used to quote that I could do that whole thing. I think
white boy day.
But I ain't as pretty as it. But I won't get into it. But I knew that whole movie back to front. I could tell you, even the beginning at Samuel L. Jackson. People don't know that.
At the beginning,
comes in the movie. There's a drug deal at the beginning, and they have the shotgun.
That's right.
Give me the burner. Takes it. Damn. That's Samuel L. Jackson.
That is such a great freaking movie.
Yeah, best movie. Love that movie. But for me, it's like, I know it's like an action movie, and you have this it's all crazy action and stuff going on. For me, the part that it was just a love story, man, and it was just you're so cool. That's what it was. You're
eating the
so
pie
cool.
and sitting on that rooftop covered with the and
it's just, and that's it. Those 3 words, you're so cool, because that's the thing too. It's like we're talking about. I was like 17 years old, and I thought being cool was the most important thing in the universe. And that's what it's like these people just said, "Fuck it, let's be in love, and we love you because you're cool." And I was like, man, I want that.
Yeah,
I really want that. It doesn't last just coolness, guys. Them telling the kids.
No, but that's what made him cool, is that he wasn't cool.
Exactly.
He was a comic book nerd, which you
loved it.
And you are a comic book guy, right?
Super comic book nerd. I've been a comic book nerd since I'm 10 years old. I collect comic books. I got long boxes at home. I love comic books.
Wait, before we get past that, because Doc Stash Holiday says, with Brad Pitt, don't condescend me, man. I'll fucking kill you, man. Love that line.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. So comics, you draw your own as well, right?
I do not draw my own comics. No,
Or
I had the honor of co-writing the Wynonna Earp comic book. I've written 2 single issues, and then 5 single issues, which became a graphic novel, and I just finished a 65-page graphic novel, all with Bo Smith, the creator and writer of the book. Wynonna Earp, yeah. So it's probably my most favorite thing. People know that about me too. Like, I'm lucky and I do lots of other things, but the fact that I get to write comic books is like, if you would have told me that, I never would have believed you.
And a Western sci-fi comic book based
if you
on
would
a
have told
show
me
that you're in.
Listen, in the new book that's coming out, one of the characters I got to create is in it, and her name is Nora Rad. So, I mean, the people who know. Silver Surfer's real name is Norrin Rad. Oh. So, you know, I'm putting in my own Easter eggs all over that thing. So the fact that I got to create a character and kind of give an ode to my favorite of all time, the Silver Surfer, is like I said, guys, we're all going to be dirt. Go up there and say the kid was good. I can't ask the universe for more. I can't complain. I've just been super lucky, and nothing's going to be, you know, it's hard to say what's going to be better than getting to write your own comic book or play Doc Holliday on a show. And this Vagrant Queen one sounds equally awesome. Now I'm going to go in space and just be awesome.
More movies. Let's talk Tommy Boy.
Yeah, Tommy Boy.
Would you say greatest movie of all time?
It'd be hard for me to say not the best movie of all time. That's the movie I've seen 7 mazillion, gazillion, thousand times. Like we were talking about before, like those cassettes when I was a kid that you played so many times that the writing faded off it. That one faded off the VHS tape because it went in so many times. Tommy like Winnie.
Did you see Adam Sandler's tribute
it
to
was
Chris
beautiful.
Farley? That
Beautiful.
was, yeah.
I actually worked with Chris Farley's brother in Montreal.
He's awesome.
He's awesome, and he looks like Chris. And it wasn't long after Chris Farley had passed. It was a really interesting situation because Chris Farley was just one of my all-time, like, you know, there's like, you know, River and Chris were my all-time favorites of all time.
So you've
and
lost.
Oddly enough, Chris had that vulnerability that River had. But yeah, and then I got to work with his brother, and I was just looking at him, and I was like, "This is too surreal, man."
Sometimes he is so
much,
yeah, but
like,
such a nice guy too.
Very, very nice.
What was that production?
Good question. This was a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
Man, I can't remember. I want to say like it wasn't. I want to say like Big Wolf on Campus, but it wasn't.
Oh, were you in that too? As well?
I was, but I don't
was in
think
that.
I don't think that was the one that. It's Kevin, right? Kevin Farley, Chris Farley.
Yeah.
That's not the one he was on. I can't remember, man. But I just remember like being in awe and being like, "Hey, damn, it's crazy, man."
So is Black Sheep?
Yeah, I love Black Sheep too. But Tommy Boy is just perfect.
Right.
It's just a perfect movie, and what I love about it is it shouldn't be a little bit of a blockbuster, but it did kind of become a blockbuster. Like it wasn't perfect, but it was. Just him and Spade were perfect. His dad was perfect. Bo Derek was perfect. Everybody was. They were just perfectly cast. You felt for them the whole time. He's like the perfect amount of like, you want to hug him and laugh at the same time, and you just want to be his best friend, and at the same time you want to help the dude, and you just love Chris Farley, and he's just, which way to the weight room? When he's walking past the pool and the girl's there, right. Or he's got the coat, fat guy in a little coat.
But you know what? You're a softie.
Oh man, I'm so soft. You know, I'm like softer than kittens.
Which is funny because the roles that you're known for, or that either be a Doc Holliday or Mutt in Schitt's Creek. There's kind of a rugged quality
rugged,
that I think.
manly guy. Thank God I can act.
Well, I do want to talk about Schitt's Creek too, but what I realized that we haven't done, we've been talking about Wyatt Earp this whole time.
Yeah.
Wynonna Earp.
Yeah.
Do we have a clip of Wynonna Earp? Is that something that...
I don't know. I feel like I'm on a talk show and I'll roll the clip. I didn't know.
I think, because I'd like for people to see you in action doing what you love to do the most. Would you say this is the role that you're...
Yeah, look, like I said, I'm excited to start Isaac, Bigger Queen, and see, but
is Wynonna done?
Listen, we're in a fight for Wynonna, and I have nothing but hope, and
Really?
I'm only about positivity. And there's a fandom called the Earpers. That's the people who watch the show. They're the greatest fandom in the entire universe.
Wow.
And they've made me a better person. It's insane to say something like that. But the fandom we have has made me a better person. That's a fact.
So what's the fight about? Is it just...
It's a money thing between, I don't know, I'm not great with all that stuff. I mean, I could show you the stuff, the media holding, somebody owes somebody money within the company, and I believe someone owns the rights to the show, and they're trying to raise the money, which the last I read they had, but I don't know what that means. I know we got picked up for season 4 and 5 at Comic-Con last year by the network. That's
right, I read about that.
Which is the hardest thing to do, is get a pickup.
Yeah.
And then we sat around. Dude, I had that big mustache. It takes 3 months to grow. I was sitting at Willie Nelson's birthday party concert ready. Like, I had a mustache, I had my cowboy hat. I'm like, put me in, coach, it's January. Where am I at? And it just, January turned into February into March, and I'm still like, what's happening? Then stuff started coming out about, like I said, I'm not the best to know all the details, but something with money.
Sounds like administrative bullshit that's getting in the way of
But it sounds like
creativity.
hopefully they'll work it all out. And the Earpers have been amazing. They've been doing this thing at Times Square, where they've been buying the billboards that say "Fight for Wynonna."
Hence the hashtag before.
They've been buying billboards that literally said "Fight for Wynonna." What I did is I actually bought a billboard to say thank you. I drove down to New York and I hung out with the Earpers in the street. No way. Listen, I'm telling you, I get to go to these conventions where we meet Earpers, and it's like, I'm one of them. I can honestly say that without being cliche.
I got chills.
I'm telling you, because I mean it. That's why you got chills, because I'm not lying. They're the best human beings in the world. The environment that they've created for me is even cooler than the show in so many ways. Like the show, look, the show's not on. That fandom's still kicking, man. It's still 100% strong. It's still supportive. It's still inclusive. It's still amazing. It's still funny. It's still awesome. And, you know, like Twitter, I wouldn't hang out on Twitter. Have you been on Twitter? Twitter could be a horrible, scary place. Not in Earpdom. Earpdom's a safe, great, amazing place to be. And yeah, these Earpers are the greatest. These fans are the greatest kids in the universe, and they make it all worth even, like, they make it even better. They make just being on a great show with a great cast.
Yeah.
And then having a fandom that's just incredible. Like, that's how we won a People's Choice Award. We won a People's Choice Award. A sci-fi show shouldn't be even
That's
there.
true, eh?
We got there because of these kids, man, the Earpers. And we
this-
won. And they deserve it. And they deserve season 4.
Well, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Tash Lever says Tim is the Earpiest Earper.
Correct.
And Earpnado or Earpnado.
Earpnado.
I know, Sharknado, Earpnado. Look how he smiles when he talks about Earpers. We lucky.
I'm lucky.
Yeah. Well, look, let's make all the Earpers happy.
Exactly.
And let's watch a clip of you in action as Doc Holliday. Here we go. Hey, how does it make you feel to watch that?
Wow, I'm telling you, bittersweet that's the scene you chose. That's the last scene of season 3. So it's crazy because we just talked about the fandom and the Earpers. Well, that's where we're at. We're all wondering
what happens.
What's
on the other
next?
Side. Yeah.
What's next for our show? Like, we're all at the top of the stairs, man, and like we want to know. So I want to know. Really, really, really bad, man. And now I really miss Doc, seeing Doc. I haven't watched that in a minute.
Yeah, but he's in you, right?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I have a hard time speaking like him until I get to set.
Really?
Yeah, and then I put the hat on, I put the guns on, and the hat, I bring it down real quick, and then I go, Wynonna Earp, Wynonna. But when I'm not outside, it's tough to get the voice and just his bravado of...
It would be so cool to get all the living Docs together.
Oh, there's an event they do every year on Doc's birthday down at Tombstone, Arizona. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Have you gone?
They, you know what? They're amazing. They've reached out to me to come down, and I want to so bad. She's just reached out to me again to come down this year. Unfortunately, August 14th, I'll be in Africa.
Right.
So yeah, they do it all the time for Doc, and they do it down in Tombstone. Val went last year, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, Dennis is gone. Yeah, they've reached out to me. They're amazing. I really want to go do it, and as soon as the dates align, I would love to.
Let's do some tagline trivia.
Tagline.
Yeah, you being a huge movie fan. First, Earpnado says, of all the scenes, Napperbeck says, dead, we dead. Le Chirac says, I'm a weapon. Tao Pao says, lump in the throat right now. I almost feel, I feel bad. I hope I didn't.
Well, I'm just saying, for us Earpers, man, that's the scene in your show is the freaking end of season 3. We all want to know what's happening.
Well, yeah, but that's, I mean, we're rallying the troops.
I'll say this. And you can kind of tell that I actually believe in the things that I feel, and I feel like they happen. And like have to ask, I feel it in my heart, and I know it's because of the Earpers. Mm-hmm. It's this fandom, man. And to be honest too, they deserve it. Fuck, they deserve it. If anybody deserved anything in this world, man, that fandom deserves it. They deserve it so much.
Why do you think there is such a passion? Like, why is that such a strong fandom?
Because it's a community built on acceptance and kindness, and in a time when people aren't accepting and aren't kind, and they're not. There's no ego. It's just people trying to be the best versions of themselves and be good to other people at a time when people are being pretty shitty to everybody else. That's what this fandom is about. It's just about people being good.
And I think we were talking before, I think it was even when we were off camera, about if we were, back before Twitter, before social media. It's got to be hard these days with social media and whatnot. But, these fandoms could not exist if it weren't for the connectivity that we achieve through social media. So, we can thank Twitter and Instagram and, news groups or what have you to allow us to create these communities.
Man, one of the most weirdest and incredible moments of my life was at WonderCon, my first WonderCon ever. And I was in LA and I was with Melanie Scrofano, who plays Wynonna, and it was our first tweet. So we're supposed to live tweet. I didn't know what live tweeting was back then. Now it's like, you got a live tweet. You tweeting? Who's tweeting? So it was our first live tweet ever. And I remember we were in a hotel, just the two of us. We were with one other person, Allison Baker from IDW. And I remember there was cheesecake because Mel wanted cheesecake. So we had cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory, one of the greatest restaurants in the world. There's a plug for Cheesecake Factory. I do not work for Cheesecake Factory. Great cheesecake. And we're eating cheesecake and we're going to tweet. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what we're doing. We're all excited. What's going to happen? But then people started tweeting us. And then we're tweeting people. And then we're looking at each other. Are you getting this person, that person? These are some of the same people. These Doc Stashes, these Stashendas, these Earpnados, this is from day one. You know what I mean? There's Wynonna Earp fandoms and stuff. They've been there from the day one. The podcast, Wynonna Earp podcast. These people from day one, they were tweeting us and then tweeting, and then you see a hashtag and it's Earper, and then it's this thing, Earper, we Earpers, we're Earpers, you're an Earper, Earper. And then it's this thing, and it just became this thing, and then you started looking forward to it. Like, I know right now, every Earper who's watching this, they missed that night.
Yeah.
That night we Earped. And that was the live tweets. I mean, it doesn't even make sense because you missed the whole show. You're too busy trying to figure out. You're like tweeting, what's happening? I normally watch it the next morning again after because I love the show.
Yeah.
And I see it, but I can't see. I miss everything during the live tweeting.
Because
There's
you're
too
tweeting.
much action. Too much action going on.
We also have Le Chirac who says, keeping your Stetson warm for you, Tim.
Perfect.
Oh, man.
Because I'm nervous, because if you saw, I went up those stairs without my hat.
Yeah?
Listen, I lost my hat in season 2. It's a thing. Don't get us down that road again. I want my hat back. I got it back for all of season 3. Then I went up these stairs here that you played. I have all the scenes.
Oh, come on. I feel really
it's the
bad
final
now.
scene. I don't even have my hat.
Julian, that's you.
So I hope I get my hat back because I'm not going through. I don't want Hatgate again, 2017.
But you know what? You have creative control certainly when it comes to the comic. How much say do you have? Oh, clearly, you don't have say in if it's coming back for season 4. But within the confines of a season or an episode, do you have some leeway to kind of to direct things the way you want them to go?
I'm going to say this, as lucky as I feel that I got the part, as lucky that I am that the fandom's as amazing it is, as lucky, like everything just, like the co-stars are amazing. These are some of my best friends now for life. And that doesn't happen all the time either. But man, did it not start with our executive, Emily Andrus, and showrunner. We lucked out with the greatest showrunner of all time. And she's actually amazing. and she's inclusive with us, and we do have discussions about characters, plot points, storylines. You don't have that with showrunners a lot of the time,
Right?
And we do. And she knows I love writing. And they actually used a scene in season 3 that I wrote from the comic book.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
kind of like it was like one of the scenes that Bo and I because Bo, like I said, it all stems from Bo too. The guy who created the whole book, he's got a heart of gold. Talk about the humility to let me write his book. That's his book. He brought me in and let me into his world.
Knowing that you were so passionate about it.
Yeah, just the fact he lets me in there is crazy. Who else? Other people aren't going to do that. But like I said, there's no ego.
Right.
There never has been. So yeah, I'm super lucky in that sense. And Emily, as a showrunner, she's amazing and she's inclusive. And if we have questions or storylines or things we'd like to go, man, she's open for all kinds of stuff.
Do you know where you'd like to take it if you could?
Well, listen, season 3 was a real rough season for me as a character. Just my character went to some pretty dark places.
Yeah.
And as you could tell, I'm softer than the characters I play. So those things are kind of tough for me. So I'd like a little bit of redemption I'm hoping for in season 4. Will I get it? I don't know. But I'd like some sort of redemption. It just is and I mean redemption, not like saving the day or not, you know what I mean? Like, I mean redemption, just being a good guy.
Getting out of the darkness.
Just being a good guy.
Yeah.
Just want him to be a good dude for a minute. Especially in this time where we're living where dudes are kind of bad already anyway. You're like, everyone's kind of shitting on guys sometimes. Well, dude, don't make my guy a shitball. Just make him nice for a minute.
And you can have that conversation. Even if
100%.
Yeah, that's great. And another reason why you're so lucky and the kid
So
did good.
lucky, yeah.
I'm definitely getting that wrong, says, oh, what scene? Tech Lover says, I love Vampire Doc.
Spoiler alert, Tash Lover. Some people don't know.
Right, exactly. Now, so we've been talking about that one show for a while, but I think there's another show that maybe the Earpers are not as aware about, and it's a completely different feel, but you're also on Schitt's Creek.
I am.
Which, as Mutt, who is like the, not homeless, because you live in a barn, but
he's got a beautiful barn, actually, yeah.
Yeah, but you're basically kind of, so the show is Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Emily Hampshire,
and
Chris
Francis.
And Chris Elliott.
Yes.
Chris, I mean, what a cast!
Yeah, Dustin Milligan. It's incredible.
And this is a show. This is a show that is CBC. So growing up in Canada, and we're both about the same age, I think we always associated CBC with like Anne of Green Gables and
worked with Anne of Green Gables. By the way, she was amazing.
Did you?
Yeah,
with
awesome.
Megan Follows.
Yeah, she's amazing.
But I mean, the
She had a
production
shotgun
style.
against me like this. It was just
Really?
Anne of Green Gables with the shotgun on.
Holy
she was awesome.
shit,
She killed
that's
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
But or Beachcombers, like I
loved Beachcombers.
Of course, but there was a very colloquial
show.
Canadiana quality to those, and then along comes Schitt's Creek. First of all, it's called Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Second of all, it makes me think more. It feels more like a Curb Your Enthusiasm or one of those Christopher Guest movies.
Yeah.
So this is and didn't Dan Levy just win?
Just won an MTV award.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
last night. Oh, it's been a phenomenon that just keeps getting bigger with each year too, which is amazing. And it's incredible. I remember, I think Mariah Carey tweeted something about it being her favorite show, and then it's like it even blew up even more. But again, it's one of those things where that fandom's incredible too, and it's one of those things where it's inclusive. It's all about love. To be on that show is one of, I remember I had the moment, so I was at a read-through, and for people that don't know, the read-throughs are, before we film an episode, we go and we read it for the first time. It's like a cold reading.
Is there a difference between a table read and a read-through?
Yeah, no, same thing. Table read-through, you call it what you want. This is a cold reading, you get the script. The writers just want to hear it out loud. Someone's in the corner timing it to see what they need to kind of cut, kind of knock. You kind of act, you kind of phone it in. It's a read-through. Anne Francis is right here. I'm right here. Catherine O'Hara is sitting directly across from the two of us. It was the Jazzagals episode. This is the episode where she auditions for the town hall to join the singing group.
Catherine O'Hara?
Yeah. Catherine O'Hara of the Schitt's Creek singing group, the Jazzagals. This is in a read-through. where you half-ass it. She's on the table, just first time ever, totally improving this song. Me and Ann are just grabbing each other's hand underneath, and it's pure. We didn't have to say anything. We were both like, can you believe we're lucky enough to be here in this room to watch this magical moment happen? Catherine O'Hara is on the table singing freaking, like just giving a performance like you've never seen before. And you're just like, this is not, like, I'm just too lucky.
And so we're thinking that there may be an Emmy nod.
I would love, I mean, I know that there's ripples in the water to get an Emmy nomination.
Oh,
I'd love to
man.
see Catherine get one.
It really is the little Canadian show that could.
Oh, really could. It's huge now. It's absolutely huge.
And it's international.
International.
So
huge.
let's.
And it's a credit, to be honest, to Dan Levy, because it's his baby, man. He writes, he directs, he's insane. He's just insanely good in it too. He's just incredible.
And it's him and his dad.
Yeah.
And their
And his
dynamic
sister.
is so. And his sister.
Sarah Levy is on it also. She plays Twyla.
No kidding. I didn't realize that. Twyla,
it's a family affair all the way around.
who your
And she's-
character-
Yes,
Yeah.
she equally, a scene stealer herself. How do you steal scenes from freaking Eugene and Catherine O'Hara? Well, Twyla does. It's crazy.
That's amazing. And so your character is. How would you describe your character, Mike?
I'm the straight man.
You're the straight.
When everyone else is funny, I'm the straight man. Because Eugene does something that no one else can do. He's the straight man,
Right.
but he's the funny straight man. How? You're not supposed to. You're supposed to, you know, like, I'm trying to break it down. When I say straight man,
No,
it's,
I
it's
know what
the
you mean.
non-funny person.
Right.
You know what I mean? That you have the funny person, and then they call it the straight man, who's like not funny, which makes the situations funny. Because the other character is like more of a bigger character. You know, Catherine O'Hara, it's a bigger character. But Eugene Levy is one of the only people that can be the funny straight man. It doesn't, you know what I mean? And he's funny not just from the situation. He's funny when he's talking.
Right.
He makes things funny.
Well, you look at his face and he's funny.
He's just incredibly gifted. And, you know, I watched them do it. I'm not good at comedy because, and I knew this when I started working on Schitt's Creek, because I watched them talk about stuff and they've got it down to like a math equation. And watching Catherine and Eugene discuss a scene was like, I felt privy to secret information.
Oh, wow.
It was
Yeah.
like a math equation. They just talked about words and the inflections of words. And like,
Really?
When it hit there, hit there. And then she would hit the there, and it was funny. I don't know why, but it was. And they
those-
just understand comedy on a level like, my friend Varun Saranga gets it. This guy who plays on Wynonna Earp. He's a comedic actor who understands the beats of comedy. I'll never get it. I'm not saying I can't be funny, just I don't know when I'm funny. These guys know when they're funny. They're being funny on purpose. Like, if you told me to be funny, I can't be funny. But maybe that was funny.
But if someone wrote the lines for you, then.
Well, Schitt's Creek, I play the straight man. I'm almost like the audience.
Well, let's see it. Let's. Can we do picture in picture? Okay, so because there's not much dialogue in the scene, so set this up. This is.
I don't know what we're
this
watching,
is
but sure.
Season 1, episode 2. This is the introduction of your character.
Right.
So basically, we're seeing.
The shirtless man barbecuing at night for no reason.
Okay, that's about as much.
Cue it, guys.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
Roll
that
it.
clip. Oh wait,
Hey, back to Wynonna Earp.
there we go. There, look at those abs.
Oh, yes.
So walk us through. Whoa. Was that awkward?
I haven't seen this in a while. This is awesome.
So that's you,
No,
basically.
I understand. Yeah, look, I mean, that's what it is. It's like one of those things where I'm trying to understand, why is he got no shirt on? And they're like, what do you mean? You're the hot guy. And I'm like, oh, the hot guy? What the? Okay, gotta be the hot guy. All right. A hot guy means you freaking do a lot of sit-ups.
Right.
It's tough when you own 2 restaurants, man. I was like, let me tell you, I was like, when is that barbecue scene?
But as Schitt's Creek went on, because now I think they're in season 5, there
Yeah.
was less and less of your character, just simply because the facial hair.
Well, listen, to be honest, Wynonna Earp came along at
Yeah.
some point too, and it's just too tough not to take another part that was Wynonna Earp. You know, Mutt was a very supporting role, and it's a great role, but
Yeah.
Doc's the leading role, isn't it? Like I said, we're actors. I gotta go also where the work is.
But for what it's worth, having watched, only being in season 1 so far of Schitt's Creek, it's a fantastic show. So I
It's
recommend
incredible.
it to
It's only
everyone.
going to get better too.
Yeah,
It
okay.
really, really gets better and better and better.
I think we have like What, 5 minutes? Not even? So let's do a little bit of tagline trivia, because I
Okay.
feel with your knowledge of movies, you'll probably do pretty well.
Oh, don't ever hype me.
Okay.
That's
We can also go by decade. So, you choose the decade, and I'll name you a tagline from a film in that decade, and you have to guess.
let's go with 90s then.
90s,
Or
okay.
2000s maybe.
All right, 90s. Let's go with 19. Okay. No, that might be.
Let's go late 90s.
Late 90s. Okay. Late 90s. How about, okay. 1998. Earth. It was fun while it lasted.
I feel like I'm going to say Armageddon for every answer. Was
That's
it
right.
Armageddon?
It was Armageddon.
Yes.
Definitely doing well so far.
I feel like I'm just going to say Armageddon.
All right. Okay. I'm hoping you're going to get this one. Pressure's on. Her life was in their hands. Now her toe is in the mail. Coen Brothers.
Oh, Coen Brothers. Mm-hmm. Is it Fargo?
No, her toe is in the mail. So, okay, her life was in their hands. It really pulls the room together.
This is speaking to me, but I don't know.
Okay, the dude.
Big Lebowski?
Yes.
Oh, how did I not get Big Lebowski?
It's okay.
Oh, I should have. Oh, my God.
It's okay.
How do I not get the dude?
I got another one
Did I
for
get it
you.
at least the dude, or did you have to say Big Lebowski?
No, I said the dude. You said the Big Lebowski.
Oh, come on.
Okay, with Child's Play now coming out as a reboot.
Yeah.
Well, I just fucked it up, didn't I? No. Well,
Child's
okay.
Play.
Chucky Gets Lucky.
Child Play.
No.
What?
Chucky Gets Lucky.
set me up.
Well, no, not really. It's in the universe.
Don't know.
Bride of Chucky. Okay, hold on. There was a.
I feel like that counts.
No, that okay.
Come on,
Black Stash
Tim,
Holiday.
yes.
Come on, Tim. Okay, hold on. Because I wanted to be ones that. Oh. No. No. Oh.
Dazed and Confused.
Right. Okay. Okay, here's one of my favorites. I don't think you'll get it, but I'll give you some hints. Love, Expulsion, Revolution. And, okay, so this is from a director, a celebrated director, who I loved his early movies, and in later years, I found that they became too much about style over substance. He did movies like...
Thinking Oliver Stone.
No. But you're okay. You're on the right track. I think Grand Budapest Hotel, and it's not that movie.
Oh yeah.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah.
So go back.
They're all wearing red Adidas outfits in it.
Right. So go back early. His I think second movie. So not Bottle Rocket, and this one.
Dude, I was only going to say Bottle Rocket. I didn't know the second one after Bottle Rocket.
Bill Murray, Jason Schwartzman.
Bottle Rocket.
Rushmore.
Oh, Rushmore.
Rushmore. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't watch Rushmore. I guess I should.
Well, now you should. Okay. Love is in the hair. I'll give you a hint. Cameron Diaz.
Oh, Something About Mary.
There you go. Okay.
Love is in the hair.
Let's go. There's something about your first piece. Now, you're not going to get it just from the tagline, but there is someone in that movie that we've been talking a tremendous amount about.
Val Kilmer?
No, Eugene Levy.
Okay.
Or Levy, I guess I
then
should say.
it's got to be Waiting for Guffman.
There's something about your first piece.
It's the one where they're all playing the instruments. They're
That's such a good movie. Blowing wind, something wind. But no, I was talking about American Pie. Oh, hold on. I want to give you a good one. Mischief, Mayhem, Soap.
That's Fight Club.
There you go. Awesome. Okay. One more. Oh my God. This is among my favorite movies. It's not on your list, and I didn't name it in my top 3, but
Beverly Hills Ninja.
oh, that's a good one too. Things fall down, people look up, and when it rains, it pours. Frogs.
Yeah, great Tom Cruise movie. One of his best performances ever. The name of that movie it's Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yes.
And his dad's dying, and he's
It's a kind
got
of
a
flower.
ponytail, and it's great, and he's talking about crazy stuff, and he has a little microphone. And
it rhymes with
Magnolia.
Yes!
Yes.
That's the one.
Took
We're
me
going
a
to call it
minute,
at
guys.
that. That
Took
was
me
a
minute.
perfect. You pulled it
I
out.
got there.
One of the greatest movies of all
Great
time.
movie. What a performance.
And I hate Tom Cruise, but I love him in that movie.
He's great. How do you hate Tom Cruise?
I'm
happy you told me this at the end.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's-
make a bad movie.
No?
Maybe Valkyrie, but other than that, Night and Day was amazing. People who say it wasn't, they're crazy.
I don't
Great
remember
movie.
Night and Day.
It's still good.
I'm not I find
The
him so...
movies are good.
Because he's always
Mission
high-fiving
Impossible,
himself in his own
amazing.
head.
The guy freaking was hanging on the side of an airplane.
Well, yeah, but he's still going, I'm Tom Cruise. Fuck yeah, I'm cool. And
He's hanging on the side of an airplane.
Okay.
For our entertainment.
We will have to agree to disagree. Let us know what you think in the chat. And this is your chance to plug anything you want. Any project you're working on, any comic book you want
Yes.
people to...
My plug is dedicated to the Earpers. If you're not an Earper, become part of that fandom. Your life will be better.
I want to.
Associate yourself with those people, and they'll take care of you.
And where can people find you? How can people follow you? Where
I'm on the Tweeter and the Instagrammer.
Awesome.
And I am the real Tim Rozon. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people who is the real one.
Right, because
I
have there been
I
fakes?
get busted for that by my friends daily. But unfortunately, there was a bunch of fakos, so I have to be the real.
The real
Tim Rozon, at real Tim Rozon. That's me, guys.
Well, look, if there's anything that I can wish you, I wish you season 4 and season 5 and season unlimited of Wynonna Earp. I wish you that the Vagrant Queen becomes, is that the right?
Yeah, that's correct.
It becomes a huge, massive success. And I hope that when it's all said and done and we're all in the earth, someone does say, he did a good job, that kid.
Wow. Thank you very much. my
Thank
friend.
you very much. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. And tomorrow, Cosplay Cave. Who's dressing up and what are they doing? They're dressing up. Tune in. Beanduck, we love you.
Last Samurai, amazing.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but at the same time, what was...
which one was bad? Valkyrie was kind of okay.
Okay, fair enough.
He makes good movies.
Well, okay, well, I'm going to pull up some... We're going to look at this. As you guys fade to black, I'm looking up Tom Cruise movies.
You make my heart and spirit always dance and sing. You're captivating me. All I need is to know that I'm in your heart and never be apart. All I need is not to feel